Now let us see the first program. Let us C++ program to read a series of names one per line from a standard input and write these names spelled in a reverse order. What we have to do is we have to take names from a command line from the standard input in the sense keyboard, and write these names spelled in a reverse order. What we need to do is we need to print those names in a reverse order to the standard output. We have to print that names in a reverse order to the standard output using IO redirection and pipes, and repeat the exercise using an input file specified by the user instead of standard input. Previously, in the previous case, what we have to do is we have to take an input from a standard input and then we have to present an output in a standard output. But what we are doing now here is repeat the exercise using a input file specified by the user. What we need to do is we need to take the names from a file that is specified by the user. Previously, it is taking the input from a keyboard as standard input. Now what we need to do is we need to design a program for a second case in such a way that it should take names from a file that is specified by the user, and using an output file specified by the user, and also it should print the name in a reverse order, not in a standard output. Instead of standard output, it should print the names in a reverse order in a output file that is also specified by the user. Let's see what and all has done in a program. This is hash include iostream.h, input output standard input output strings will be there here over here. The c string.h, c string and f string, these are the various header files that we need to use for the common functioning of this one, for defining the functions here as a header file. If we are not going to write a header file, it is not going to show the functionality in the program. That's why it is better to mention all the header files on the function on the top of the program using namespace std. Let's see what's the use of this namespace std. Built-in C++ library routines are kept in namespace that includes stuff like cout, cin, string, vector map. Because these tools are used so commonly, it's popular to use using namespace std at the top of your source. To include the namespace, namespace is a standard library function. It contains library routines, it contains cout, cin and all. Therefore, it is better to use namespace std in the top of the program to prevent an errors in the future. Firstly, we will forget about these and all things. We will later come to know for what these are declared. We need to declare one f stream f1 and f2. Let's see what's this f stream means. Fstream is a type defined input and output file stream class. The matter is not clear here. Let's go to tutorial point so that we will get a clear matter about that one. See, so far we have used the iostream standard library, which provides cin and cout methods for reading the standard input and writing output. This tutorial will teach how to read and write from a file. This requires another standard C++ library called fstream, which defines 3 new data types. Fstream is a standard library function for defining a new data type for reading and writing from a file. Previously, we used to define iostream. It is a library function which used to take a input from a keyboard and which is used to give an output for a monitor. But in order to take an input from a file and to give an output to a file, we need to use fstream. This is show, which will defines 3 data types. It is going to fstream that we have mentioned over here. The fstream that we have mentioned over here will gives us 3 data types, that is OFStream and IFStream and fstream. OFStream, the data type, represents the output file it will represent the output file stream, and ifstream it will represent the input file stream, and fstream it will represent both. I think it is yeah, the fstream it will represent both ofstream and ifstream, which means it can create a file, write information to the file, and read information to the file. So it is better to use fstream. Based on the need of a user, we can use programmer, we can use ofstream, ifstream, or fstream. Let's see. Here they have used fstream, f1, f2. These are the variables that are declared under the data type fstream, which are used to, it can be considered as objects if you want, which are used to open or which are used to write the data into the files. These are, it will serve as an object. Okay, these are all stuff we can later on we can view that one. See out. Firstly, we need to give a chance for a user to select whether he has to take an input from a standard input or take an input from a file. As the question it has mentioned the two cases. Firstly, enter your choice. Firstly, it will ask to enter the choice KB, whether we need to take from standard input or for file. We need to enter here KB. According to the switch cases, what it will do is, if it is a 1, if the user chooses that he need to take an input from a standard input, then it will go to the case 1. Enter the number of names. Firstly, it will ask enter the number of names. Enter the number of names. It will take that name in a C variable. Let's see what is C variable. We have declared the C is equal to 0 as int. It will take a number of variables first, number of names that are decided that user to give. If the number of names is 2, if the C value will be 2. Now let us enter a loop value. Let us use a loop for taking the names. If the user mentioned only one name, there is no necessity. If the program is designed in such a way that to take only one name, there is no necessity for us to take this one. But here they have a number of names. That's why it is better to use a C variable over here. That's why it is better to use the for loop also, because for taking the multiple names, first initialization j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to c, j plus plus. First what it will do is it will initialize j as 1 and it will check 1 is less than or equal to c or not. If the mentioned value, the number of names are 2, 1 is less than or equal to obviously 2, then it will enter into the loop. And then what it will do, see out, enter the name, it will ask the user for a name, and it will take as soon as user enters the name, it will take and store in a variable s1. S1 is declared as a char of 25 bytes. And now what it will do is it will take the length of the s1, the name that is mentioned by an user. It will take a length of the s1 by it will be useful for when we are going to reverse the name. X is equal to string length of s1. What that s1 will do is s1 will contain the name that is mentioned by the user. The x will contain the number of letters that is there. It's a string length. It's an inbuilt function which will come under a string.h, string.h header file. What it will do is a built-in function. It will calculate the length of a name that has entered by the user. Now let us, as soon as we take from a user, let us reverse the name to the standard output. In order to reduce the overhead to mention that reverse that one is lost. As soon as we take an input, we will reverse that one. See out reverse name. Okay. What we need to do is we need to initialize, as we are printing the name in a reverse order. What we need to do is we need to make a pointer to point at the last of the name. I is equal to x minus 1. X minus 1 because the length of x will be taken along with the /0 at last, null character. That's why we need to decrement that null character by 1. Therefore, we will take x minus 1. I greater than or equal to 0. Up to up to which we have to do is up to I must be greater than or equal to 1. As the counting will in a computer will start always from 0, and I minus minus. We need to decrement from the top. We need to come. See out s of I. What we need to do is we need to print from a lost. See out s of I and see out enter. We need to get the cursor to the next line as soon as printing the one name. It will print the one name as it will iterate repeatedly up to the end of the name, and it will break. This is the first case. First case means from the standard output. Let's see the standard for a file of IO for a standard. If it is going to take it from a standard input output file, what we can see, how can we program? Enter a data name file name, data file name. This is a scene fname1. Fname1 is declared under this one character, as it is a name of a file. We need to declare in a character. What it will do is it will take an input file and store it in a file name. and enter a reverse data file. The reverse data file on which we need to dump the data that is taken from a file name f1, okay, and f name. And as I have mentioned before, only these can be act as an objects or a variables for accessing the file names. This is a syntax of open. Let's see the syntax of open file. Opening a file. So this is the syntax of opening a file. Open constant char, it's a file name, where here we have to mention a file name. That's the first portion, we need to mention a file name, and at the second portion we need to mention IOS scope resolution operator open mode. IOS scope resolution operator open mode we have to mention. IOS means input output streams, and this open mode, on which mode we need to open a file. These are some of the modes that I have mentioned over here. IOS append mode, all output to the file appended to the end. If we open the file in append mode, what the cursor will do is it will place at the last of the file, so that whatever the data that will enter to the file, it will enter from the last of the file. And IOS AT open file for output and move the read or write control to the end of the file. What it will do is it will move the read or write control to the end of the file. If it is IOS in, open the file for reading, it will open the file for reading. It is IOS out, open the file for writing. It is for output and it is for input. And IOS truncate, it will open if the file already exists, it contains, it will truncate it before opening. If the file name that we are going to specify it is, if it is already exist, what it will do is it will truncate the file before opening the file. These are the various syntaxes and various mode flags of the opening of a file. And let's go to the program. As we have seen before, only the syntax of open function, it contains a file name and it is opening the file in an input mode. As we have seen, f1 it's an input file, it is opening in an input mode, and f2 it's an output file of f name 2, it is opening in an output mode. If not equal to f1, if any error occur, if the file name exists, if a file opening is successful, what it will return is, it will return a positive value. It will return a positive value for that one. If that positive, if it is not true, if it have any error, if not equal to f1, here a file does not exist, it will do a file does not exist. And as well as if any error in opening a file name 2, it will also mention that file name does not exist. Now let us see, after if the file exists, it will come to the while loop. While 1, it's an infinite loop. File f1.getLine, this is a getLine. Let's see the syntax of a getLine. Yeah, this is a function of the getLine. It used to extract the character from a stream as unformatted input and stores it into S as a C string until either extended characters in the delimiting character. What it will do is it will get a characters. It will get a characters from a file of a specified delimiter, and what it will do is it will store that characters in a buffer. Yes, let us see. This is a stream size up to how much bytes we need to extract. It will specify how many bytes and I mean how many letters it need to extract. Let us see in the function. Okay. It's an S1. S1 is a buffer. S1 is declared under character. S1 is declared under character as it's using as a buffer, and it will extract from a file, input file, the indication for input file is f1.getLine. This is an object for getting a line from a file 1, as we are mentioning it is an f1. What it will do is it will get a line from the file, input file, 25 characters, and then it will store it in a s1 buffer. if any file occurs, if any mistake or an error during getting a stretching a line from the input file, what it will do is it will break. Otherwise, what it will go is to get an in order to make it as reverse, what it will do is same functionality that we have, the same procedure that we have followed before. What it will do is x is equal to string length of s1. It will take the length of s1 to the x, and in the reverse order it is going to print. What it will do is it will just s1 of i. S1 of I, it is mentioning as F2, extracting operator, and F2. Oh, this one S1 of I. What it will do is it will keep on dumping one letter to the F2 character. F2 is an object. In turn, the object will going to make sure that it is going to print that one in a fname2, and F2 ender after each and every letter it has printed. It is a responsibility of this one to go to the next line. This is f1.close and f2.close is a break. And why we have used this one, as we have opened the file in the top level, it has allocated, the computer will be allocating many resources for file. It's our responsibility for us to close the file that is open. Indirectly, what we are going to do is we are going to deallocate the resources that we have allocated as for that file. f1.close, f2.close, break output. And let's see the output if possible.